Butterworth again. Burko's first start at NC State, first Division I start. He scored 14 goals in Division II a season ago.
Looks like NC State setting up for a long throw here, getting a lot of numbers into the box.
Last year, the long throw of Isaac Heffis was such a weapon for this team. Kai Antoine taking over that role, and it's a good long throw.
I would say Coastal dealt with that, but not entirely comfortably. That is something I would expect NC State to keep going back to, and it looks like they're going to do it again right now.
Coach Hubbard's teams excel in set pieces, and this is kind of its own set piece.
Absolutely, with a throw like that, you can make any throw in the attacking third, a ball into the dangerous area.
Butterworth with a strong header to clear. Goal kick.
Yeah, that was really great from Theo Butterworth. He actually took a little bit deeper starting position so that he could go forward and attack that ball. I expect to see more of that from him with every one of these NC State long throws.
Second year at Conway after starting his career at Houston Christian, where he was named to the OVC all-newcomer team, back healthy, and has already gotten in the mix a number of times.
Andrew, you mentioned both teams missing some critical players. It's hard to get to the first game in the season without a couple of nicks and scratches during preseason. But in addition to that, partly because of some of the new legislation that's come in, there are players sort of awaiting official clearance on both sides.
Manuel Adu tries to spring Drew Lovelace, just narrowly missing that connection. Yeah, that's part of it too. There's take Drew Lovelace for example. You know, just a few weeks ago, and not to go on too much of a tangent, but for the record, I mean, it is tough as a coach when everybody's healthy and everybody is, you know, in compliance and cleared and ready to go. It's still a very short runway to get ready for the season.
Very.
Then you add in everything else to the mix. As Irving Cruz takes a tumble, and it'll lead to a free kick in a good area.
This will be an interesting free kick for NC State. I'm not sure that we're quite in shooting distance, but it's very central. Yeah, he's just got on the wrong side of him, gone up the back of his legs. That's a foul all day.
Veteran for NC State, missed all of last year due to a knee injury. Back healthy at 100% and moving to a new position from right back to left mid in the 4-4-2 diamond. And well, Justin, you might think it's out of shooting range, but it seems like there's quite a few people that want to stand over this one.
Honestly, it's probably the best option because from a central position like this, it's very hard to clip a ball in behind that back line and not have it carry all the way to the goalkeeper.
These are two good options. Maloney, a left footer. Tyler Caton wearing the captain's armbands, right-footed.
Unless something very intricate has been worked on in preseason, I'm expecting a shot here.
It is Maloney. That skies over the crossbar.
It was worth a try.
One of just two regular starters to return for NC State. Those two, Maloney and Caton. Although it should be noted that DiFrancesco did make 11 starts last year, so started nearly half of the matches.
NC State now with a high press of their own as Coastal tries to play out of the back.
That will release a little bit of pressure. Daniel Idiakoa, they expect big things out of the junior from Dublin.
awfully impressed with Theo Butterworth. You can see him reading the play when NC State is building from the back, and there's a little bit of a gap as his players in front of him are pushing forward.
Parker Jackson calling for a sub. So both teams are going to take this opportunity maybe to talk things over in a quick hydration break. Again, this is the second match of the doubleheader. Earlier for the women's soccer match, the feels like temperature was triple digits. It was 100 degrees. Now it has cooled off quite a bit as the sun has gone down, but still, that tells you how hot it was earlier. The real feel is 95, and I said it feels cooled off. It is still difficult conditions to run in.
Absolutely. Now, that's not going to be a surprise to either of these teams. They've been training in these kind of conditions for a few weeks now. But you can't replicate, not even in your preseason games, the kind of intensity you get when you actually start your season. So there will be some burning lungs and burning legs already here after just 15 minutes.
Look at the bottom of your screen. Jackson, and he might have already been feeling the effects at that point. He was reaching for his hamstring, I thought.
Yep, and you hate to see things like this where there's no contact involved, and you worry that maybe he's tweaked a hamstring there. And he called for the sub right away.
That's where you
so
see the sub. He was trying to communicate with his goalkeeper to say, hey, don't send it my way.
Right.
Jackson making his Coastal Carolina debut.
You know, how these teams handle that real feel is going to be crucial when we get to the final 10-15 minutes of this match. There's going to be a lot of miles on the legs by that point, and it'll be interesting to see how both coaches use their benches to try to alleviate some of that fatigue.
Caden heads it along. Urban Cruz's shot takes a deflection and kept in by Devine. So Brady Schumacher, the freshman, making his collegiate debut. Freshman from South Carolina.
Again, NC State with a high press. Again, Coastal comfortable playing through it. Both coaches here are sticking to their principles, not getting too concerned about pressure. They still want to play through it.
That long switch sniffed out. Urban Cruz finds Maloney. Service headed away by guess who?
Theo Butterworth.
Coastal looking to counter, some space on the near side. Here's O'Brien ahead. The shot will trouble Terran Hope. Shot taken by Mateo Carita. First time we've called the Argentinian's name, the Maryland transfer.
Nice little counterattack from Coastal.
And that's one of their formulas. It is O'Brien as a creator, play it to the number 9. And Carita puts it on target.
Yeah, you see when NC State's in possession in their own third like this, Coastal again continuing to be comfortable stepping their players into the NC State half. When State gets a sustained attack and gets it into the Coastal half, there's a mentality switch from Coastal where they're looking for the first ball out. Can we find some space? Can we turn that first man, beat someone on the turn? And now we've got numbers running forward. That's the first time it happened tonight. They'll be looking for more of that.
Carita maybe a little eager to hit the turf. Official not buying it. Burko moving the other way. Waited on reinforcements and got it in the form of Tyler Caden.
And here come the overlaps from NC State. Andrew, I've got to say how impressed I am with the positional discipline of both teams. You have to shift and move when the other team has possession and they're passing the ball. But you see Coastal here just shifting as a unit rather than any one individual player trying to chase the ball and getting out of position.
A foot race. Both players fall down. And our referee, Corbin Goodyear, says play on.
Good decision by the referee. There's two players attempting to play the ball there and just coming together. But again, that started with a Theo Butterworth clear. State's probably going to need to find another avenue of attack rather than right through the middle.
On a 3-5-2, you're always eager to see how the wingbacks fare. And they're so important. I also have to think when you have a guy right in the middle of the three that is all over the place like that, that helps give you confidence that you can play that shape and play it well.
Absolutely. As we look across the pitch right now, we see Coastal's back three and we see the wingbacks pressed high. They're confident to do that because they trust those three behind them.
And case in point, right? NC State had numbers, but could not get past Butterworth.
Right. Just a tiny bit of impatience now, trying to force things through the middle. The space is here out wide if they can combine. Maybe draw Theo Butterworth himself out of the middle and play into that space he's vacated. That might be one way.
Again, Gordon and Appiah here, both fighting for the ball. Gordon, 5th start ever against the Chants. 3 wins and a draw.
And that was really good defending from Gordon because he was the last man back. If he loses that challenge, Coastal's in on goal.
Strong from DiFrancesco. It'll be a throw.
He did
last year for NC State. You would say it's as good as a corner.
Yeah, and he was down. He was dealing with 2 defenders there and did well to get a corner or throw in out of it. You can see numbers around Will Devine. They're going to make life difficult for him.
No call initially. Is this one that Coach Hubbard might want to review?
Well, that is a new rule we have. We see a stoppage right now, and we are going to go to video review.
So Riley Maloney going for that knockdown ball, and this is a new rule this year. Coaches have 2 challenges. Now, it doesn't matter if you win them, they go away. But this is precisely the kind of play that you would maybe want to challenge in the first half because they go away, so you don't want to waste them, but this is a potential PK.
Right. It's definitely worth a challenge here.
Well, Maloney certainly got the ball first. And then Pierce O'Brien.
I'm not sure that he comes down on the back of his heel there. If he does, the referee is going to see that as a penalty, but I'm not sure from the looks we're getting. It looks like his foot might be making contact with the ground. That's Theo Butterworth there, number 4. I'll be interested to see how the referee sees this. Sorry, that's...
Yeah. Corbin Goodyear, our referee. First video review of the year for either team. Gonna call the coaches over.
I like the way they do this now and explain it to both coaches so there's no uncertainty.
No penalty.
I think that's the right decision. From the looks we got, the foot made contact with the ground. There was one angle that looked like it may have come into the back of the ankle, but we got a better look. There was really no contact. As you said, though, Andrew, it's worth a challenge. The potential payoff is a penalty kick. You've only got 20 minutes left in the half.
Yeah. But keep in mind, that does put a little more pressure on any future decisions for Coach Hubbard. I will say, and this is just my own personal opinion, didn't seem like there was a ton there. I'm all for video review, but you want it to be pretty clear.
Sure. Yeah, one of the things video reviews in other sports has shown us is that referees are actually very good at their jobs. It's a very, very difficult job. They have to do it in real time without the benefit of video replay, and they get it right far more often than not.
DiFrancesco weaving his way.
That's a touch from Will Devine. That's an absolutely outstanding save. I'm certain when we get a replay here, we will see that full stretch to his left. He was able to get fingertips of that ball and turn it around the post.
Starts last year, but really was never fully healthy, and yet Devine did get a fingertip save to it.
Watch his left foot here and the push from the ground, the extension of the upper body. That's just a great save.
But DiFrancesco saying as tough as last year was for him, just battling injury all season, he is feeling good, and he's gotten his confidence back after a good spring. And that was a quality strike.
He'll feel good about that, but he's got a big challenge to face right now. You see all the bodies right on top of him.
Carried over.
Yeah, I think this is going to be the strategy for State from these corners. Put a lot of bodies around the goalkeeper and drop the ball right on top of him. He dealt with that well. It's another corner, but that's not an easy ball to deal with. That was bending in under the bar.
That's something that Riley Maloney, who scored at Olympico last year, he's very good at dropping the ball right on top of the goalkeeper.
I think we're going to see it. We're going to see it again right here.
Turns away. Good service.
Andrew, I think we're going to see another brilliant save from Will Devine. I think he got his left hand to that ball. His right hand, sorry. I think he touched that.
He did. And it rung the post, and you could see all the traffic in there, like the belt line at rush hour.
So State definitely turning the temperature up here in the last 5 minutes. That's a couple of quality chances. Will Devine is certainly in the game and keeping his team in the game. Coastal needs to find a way to settle the game back down.
Whistle and a foul will go against Baxter Hurt, the Lipscomb transfer.
You can just sort of feel a change here in the last 5 minutes, can't you, Andrew? It was really an ideal start in the first 20 minutes from Coastal. Largely neutralized the NC State attack, had a couple of counterattacks of their own, playing their way into this game and into this season. But some individual quality up front now from State, starting to create chances.
And I think this was a separator for this program a year ago. Yes, they can beat you in the run of play, but they are so good on the set pieces, so good from the restarts.
Yeah, I know Coastal will not be relishing the idea of dealing with more corners.
Maloney's ball is headed wide. DiFrancesco is down. Is that Butterworth too?
He's back on his feet, but they have asked for the trainer.
Junior Mata, the Coastal trainer, sprinting out.
Yeah, it looks like maybe a clash of head. Yep, clash of heads. There's some blood. He's going to be off the field and will require attention.
Couple of subs for NC State as Aiden Payne and Caden Tolentino check in. Couple of veteran returners.
Going to be really interesting to see how long it takes to patch Theo Butterworth up and see if they can get him back out there. They were looking a little bit vulnerable from aerial attacks and corners, even with him. And I just wonder if a strategy for Will Devine might be considering not putting one of his own players on the NC State player that's standing on him at the corners. That's just adding an additional body for him to deal with. There's no real consensus about that in the goalkeeping world. It's a matter of personal preference. But right now, the sheer number of bodies around Will Devine is making it difficult for him to come and deal with those balls himself.
Parker Sturgis has come in, freshman making his collegiate debut. He's from Las Vegas. I said earlier, it's like rush hour, and for those of you that don't know, Justin, you're a professional goalkeeper and a longtime goalkeeper coach as well. So your job when a team is doing that to you, and it's like rush, you're traffic cop. Sometimes that's telling your own guys, hey, get out of the way.
Yeah, it's a chaotic situation. There's a lot of bodies around you, and you have to sort of find a route to the ball through that chaos. And sometimes, as you mentioned, your own teammates trying to help are just additional traffic.
Appia sees yellow as Riley Maloney has been knocked down a few times. And that's
a high boot. That's a high boot into the midsection. You know, he's just pulled his foot down. Yeah, he just pulled that down. That looked like the beginning of the kind of challenge that would be getting a video review. But he did well to pull his foot down.
Little history here. You mentioned that Coach Perrin knows the ACC. He came here last year. NC State won 16 games last year. They lost 3, including to Coach Perrin's UVA Cavaliers. And it was a red card in a similar challenge like that, where the foot did not get pulled back. An 8th-minute red card shown to Tyler Caton that was obviously a big impact in that match, playing a man down for 82 minutes.
Yeah, that's a challenge for any team. You can deal with a man down for 20 minutes or so, but if you have to play almost the entirety of a game a man down, particularly your attacking options are going to be so limited.
That, by the way, tracks back to what we were saying earlier. Probably a good idea to challenge that potential penalty earlier, but now that you've burned one, you don't use it there on a potential red. Whereas if you had both challenges, maybe you do.
Yeah, I think it happened close enough to State's bench that they maybe got a good look at it and saw that maybe the foot was pulled down.
Coastal on the counter. Appia does well. Thought Pierce O'Brien was going to get on the end of that.
You know, the challenge rule, Andrew, is a work in progress. This is its first year. I doubt this iteration will last forever. There will probably be tweaks to it. One of the really curious things about it, and I know Coach Perrin mentioned this when we spoke to him, is that if you're successful with a challenge, you still lose it. You know, and as he pointed out, you've actually corrected an official's mistake. You really shouldn't lose your challenge. I expect that change to be made by next season. If you remember in the old days of tennis, during the challenge system, if a tennis player challenged a call and they were correct, they kept that challenge in the bank. I think we'll see something like that in the long term in college soccer.
I agree, and at minimum, you should be able to get an extra challenge. If maybe you say, well, if you're right on the first 2, you get a 3rd. That was kind of Coach Perrin's proposal, and
that's a good one too.
Yeah, I kind of like it.
I like that too.
I actually agree with you. I think they should be unlimited, in that if you keep correcting a call, to your point earlier, these refs are really good.
They are.
It's not likely that you're going to have 4, 5, 6 reviews.
You would hope not.
If you do, you don't want to penalize for, you know, correcting a call.
And that's the one potential downside to it, is it will slow the game down a little bit if we have that many.
Tolentino left open. Tolentino, 3 goals a season ago, had his shot blocked.
I like the different approach from State there. They let Coastal think they were going long into the box. Coastal withdrew almost their whole team into the box, and that left space at the top of the box for a shot.
Playing without Butterworth, and Sturgis makes a nice play.
And Andrew, I'm keeping my eye on Butterworth on the bench. He's still on his feet. The rules about head injuries are a little bit different than regular substitutions. Normally, if you're subbed out in the first half, you can't go back in. If it's deemed a head injury, you can. And now he's approaching midfield, so it looks like they're going to be getting him back into the game.
And that's a good rule. You want player safety to have the utmost importance.
Yeah, and here he comes now.
Precautionary, and when they're cleared to go, as it appears he is, he'll be coming back in. But first, we're going to stop for a hydration break. Next week to speak. Everybody's fired up about that.
That's incredible.
Hydration break here. It has been hot. It has been humid. Some early fouls, a lot of contact. Justin, what's your takeaway from the first 25+ minutes of this first half?
Mostly even, except for about a 5-minute period there where NC State really was able to create some chances. Will Devine in Costa's goal did his job superbly, made a couple of great saves at full stretch to his left to keep it scoreless. I think both coaches will be reasonably happy with what they've seen. Coach Mark Hubbard of NC State has seen now that his team can create some chances. He'll want to get back to that.
Big punch from Devine. It's chipped back in. Falls to Majib So. Ping-pongs around. Corner. And that's the way NC State has had corners tonight. That is not a relieving breath for Coastal at all.
No, and again, I'm harping on at it, but I really love this positivity from Will Devine coming out and challenging and punching that ball. It's very difficult with one fist to clear the ball completely away from danger, but he did his primary job there. He got it away from an NC State head and let them reset. Here we go again with bodies all over Will Devine.
Maloney spins it off the post again, and a whistle stops play with the ball on the goal line.
So this is the only risk that NC State is taking with putting that many bodies around the goalkeeper. Referees are going to protect the goalkeeper if they feel like they're getting a little too much pressure and physical contact.
I got to say, I know it's tough to see through all that traffic, but Gordon stood his ground, got a header off the post.
Yeah, he would be justified being a little frustrated by that being given as a foul. He's entitled to that space, and he did play the ball.
Made himself a target and nearly netted the first goal of the season for NC State.
If it does come, Andrew, it will not surprise me at all if it comes off a corner. There really hasn't been a drama-free corner yet. Pretty much every ball State has put in has caused problems.
And if Coastal can get to halftime with no goals allowed, I have to think part of the discussion is we have to limit the corners. That we cannot allow corners because, yeah, to your point, it feels like it's just a matter of time on a corner kick.
It does. It does. They don't seem to have a clear answer for it. And also, the reason for that, we have to say, is the quality of the ball that's being delivered in is really top-notch. In-swingers from both sides, putting both goalkeeper and defenders under tremendous pressure.
NC State utilizing some of its depth. Austin Bush, a returner from last year, but played in just a couple of matches. We mentioned DiFrancesco, Bush, Ibrahim Condé. They had the Mac Herman Trophy winner in Donovan Phillip, but all of their other forwards, it felt like, dealt with injuries throughout the year. Bush had a hamstring issue that held him to just the 2 matches, but he is in for his season debut. And the junior college transfer, Hayato Takayama from Iowa Western, has entered in the midfields. He'll play the 10.
And, you know, again, Andrew, considering how many new players that we've got on the field for both sides, I still continue to be impressed. Even though there have been a lot of fouls like that, people aren't diving into rash challenges around their own box. People aren't losing positional awareness, chasing the ball all over the field. I'm looking at Coastal right now. They're in a really good defensive shape. The 2 wingbacks are pinned back at the moment, so they're in sort of a back 5. State's finding space, but Coastal is rotating. Everyone knows their job. Anytime a player steps, someone rotates in behind, and it's really limiting what State can produce from open play. That would be a great formula for Coastal were it not for how dangerous State is in these situations.
Yeah, for a season opener, you can tell just the high level of coaching for these two programs. Again, crowded in the 6.
Yeah, by my count, we have 18 players within 12 yards of goal.
Gordon keeps it alive. O'Brien gets it away. And a foul goes against Tyler Caton here.
And that will be a very, very welcome foul for Coastal. This is a chance for them to get out of their half.
Josh Gordon is from the 6. He's from right outside of Toronto, and he's been in the 6 all night. And this is the foul, and Caton, with that arm extended, whistled for it, making contact with Idiokoa.
And you see Coastal not in the biggest hurry to restart play here, and they're going to play short and go back with it. This is a chance for them to sort of catch their breath, keep the ball away from NC State for a little bit, and relieve some of the pressure that they've been dealing with since about that first hydration break. And you can just see some fresh legs now on the on the field for State, and they're just swarming defensively when Coastal try to keep the ball in a small area like that.
NC State with so many top-level players last year. The Mac Herman Trophy winner, ACC Offensive, Defensive, and Goalkeeper of the Year.
Yeah, a highly decorated team. It's wonderful for that. It's great recognition of the level of players that Coach Mark Hubbard has brought here to NC State. It does come with one little drawback, which is you're a target for every team you play now. Everyone knew State's quality last season. They're coming off a Sweet 16 year, but it's a little different when you actually go to the national final and you're one goal from winning that final. You're not going to catch anybody by surprise this year.
And it's obviously a lot to replace on the very, very top end. You're talking about the National Player of the Year, the #1 MLS draft pick, the best goalkeeper in the league. With that said, talking to this team, and it's still very early, they have so much depth. They say they might have more depth pieces than even a season ago, and it'll take some time. Again, Coach Hubbard is preaching patience, but depth might pay dividends on a humid night like tonight, and it might pay dividends in what they hope is another long run in those tired legs when you play match number 20+ of the season.
Yeah, there's a saying that maybe the ceiling is not quite as high, but the floor is higher. And depth is an enormous advantage as the season goes on. It's an enormous advantage tonight as we deal with humid conditions. But it's really a long game.
Kai Antoine. Speaking of advantages, looked like Coastal had one there.
Yeah, that's going to be the key for them, is can they get in those transition moments, get in behind that midfield, and run at the back four. They did it here, and they got a bit of a desperate foul and a free kick in a reasonably promising area. Now, I am going to say this time, Andrew, this is too far out for a shot.
This is where I draw the line.
It is. They are going to mark off 10 yards. There is going to be a wall. But they're far out enough where you can clip a ball in at a little bit of an angle, and I would expect them to try to find somebody on either side. You see how open the central area is right now.
We haven't seen a lot of these opportunities for Pierce O'Brien and company, but he had 17 assists in his collegiate career. Service is excellent. NC State ready for that.
The physics are just really against you with a ball like that. It's so hard to drop it in over the back line, but not so hard that it carries across the end line as that one did.
I did not realize that we would be talking physics tonight. I am completely unprepared.
That will probably be my last mention of physics. Just a little bit better now the last 4 or 5 minutes from Coastal. Couple of trips into the NC State half. When you get sucked into a situation where you're defending a lot, dealing with a lot of set pieces, it's not very fun. You expend a lot of energy. It's stressful emotionally. When you can relieve that by getting some attacks of your own, it helps a lot.
Great move here by Emmanuel Adu. Majib So.
Butterworth again.
Adu played university in Germany, comes to the United States with 1 year working on his master's in economics, and starting right back here in the season opener for Coach Hubbard.
And he's gotten forward a lot. He's been a big part of the attack down this right-hand side.
Payne tried to turn with it, lost the handle.
One of the reasons State has largely established themselves in the Coastal half is the outside backs getting forward on both sides. As we see another potential injury here, possibly cramp.
It has been, whether injuries, yellow cards, just adrenaline from night one, it's been a lot of stop and start so far tonight.
And on the close-ups, Andrew, you can see it. The players are absolutely soaking in sweat. There's not much of a breeze here tonight. It's a pleasant enough night for the 3,000 or 4,000 fans in attendance, but when you're out there working as hard as they are, you lose a lot of sodium, a lot of electrolytes very quickly, and that probably won't be the last cramp we see tonight.
I mean, it feels like still in the 90s, and the sun set long ago.
The joys of August. I grew up in Florida, Andrew, and I used to say summer was my favorite time of year. I do not make that claim anymore.
Yeah, you've been hanging out in Key West. You're built for this.
It's easier when you're young.
Robert Valdemarson, Icelandic senior returner that they're very excited about this year. Xander Payne.
What a great turn there.
Is fouled. And again, Corbin Goodyear calling for a stoppage and reaching into his pocket. That'll go against Sturgis.
You know, just before that, Andrew, Coastal got a good ball forward and got a player on the end of it, but they weren't able to keep it. They need to keep the ball in those situations. They need to establish some presence in the NC State defensive third. Even if it doesn't result in chances, it pulls State back, it relieves pressure. Instead, they immediately get countered themselves and feel the need to pull someone down to stop a numbers up attack.
You spoke of the stressed emotions that these opportunities create.
Yeah, the deliveries have just been so good from State. Every one of these balls in has been a problem.
Two-handed punch.
Yeah, once again, I'm going to give a lot of credit to Will Devine, relieving pressure on his team by coming off his line, attacking that ball.
This time, Valdemarson whistle. Former Icelandic U17 team member.
Coastal's not going to mind giving up the occasional free kick this deep, this far from their goal. It slows the game down, lets them get back into a good defensive shape. And State's not really going to hurt them from here. we see the stats, both the shots and the fouls, reflecting what we're seeing in the run of play, which is what we're looking at right now. State establishing possession in the Coastal half. Coastal doing a good job shifting and rotating and not allowing clear-cut chances, but it is inviting pressure.
NC State has hit the post twice thus far tonight, both off of corner kicks. Takayama hasn't been on the ball a lot since he came in as a replacement at the 10.
So it's just a matter of finding answers in situations like that for State. You're going to have time on the ball in the final third with most of Coastal's players withdrawn and in between you and goal. There really isn't an easy route through right now. Someone's either going to have to beat someone off the dribble or a couple quick combinations wide. Balls in behind along the ground from the end line, where someone like Theo Butterworth doesn't have such an advantage in winning the ball.
Takayama turns.
So similar to that, that's kind of what I think the answer might be for State. Little combinations wide that get someone to the end line. You get enough of those situations, you're going to get a ball in front of goal. Eventually one will fall to an NC State player. Set up for the overlap here.
Bush made the run.
Not far off. Good quality ball in. Just not able to get full contact on the stretch.
You mentioned the target on your back. Also, when you have a ranking, and Coach Hubbard pretty bluntly said, look, that's more based off of what we did last year than anything that this team has done, right? But when you're playing a team, you're going up against the #2 team in the country. There are teams that are going to sit back and play a little more defensive, and this is some problem solving that is going to have to happen. When you're replacing 19 goals from the Mac Herman Trophy winner, who could sometimes break down a very set defense, where are the goals going to come from? It's a question that they hope to find the answer to quickly.
Sure, and that's something you referenced earlier, Andrew, about when we talked about the ceiling. When you lose a player of that kind of individual quality who can hurt a team even when they don't make a mistake defensively, that's almost irreplaceable. And I think that's one of the reasons Coach Mark Hubbard has preached a little bit of patience, because the only way you replace that is either a player of the same quality or you replace it in the aggregate. So asking just a little bit more from a couple of players, 2-3 players, to give you that same kind of production.
Sammy Murphy, one of the 5 returners, coming in on this near side, could not keep it in.
We're at the stage now that I think Coastal would welcome halftime. Not that they're particularly struggling, but the flow of the game is certainly going against them. And they're just 4 minutes away from halftime, and if they can get there scoreless, they'd be happy.
At halftime, we'll talk to both head coaches. We'll talk to Coach Hubbard first, and then at the start of the second half, talk to Coach Perrin, get their thoughts on this first half. Payne, and Devine absolutely smothers it.
Great turn and a good ball across goal, and safe hands from Devine.
Just the 4th meeting all time between these two teams. Last time they met here in Raleigh, late November 2019. It was an NCAA tournament match in the first round, and the Chanticleers won it in double overtime.
Now here's a very nice transition moment from Coastal.
He's not been asked to do a whole lot in the last 20 minutes or so, but ready.
Alert there, and that kind of transition is what Coastal will look to do. A quick ball out of the back, a one-touch pass in midfield that cuts the NC State midfielders out of the game and lets them run at the back four.
And early on, maybe first 10 minutes, we were talking some about the Chanticleer's press. And maybe a chance to see some of that.
Yeah, especially early in the season, first game of the season, big crowd, you're going to have a lot of energy and adrenaline. That never lasts. That doesn't last 15 games into the season on a run-of-the-mill game. There is always going to be a little bit of loss of energy after the first 15 or 20 minutes. But they have picked their times well to still get numbers into the NC State half and not just wait back for them. They're still committed to a high press. It's not quite as effective as it was early in the game, but you can see them trying to pull it off.
Able to get it to Murphy, but .90 seconds remaining in half number one. First match of the doubleheader saw 5 goals, a 4-1 win for NC State over Charlotte. A couple of posts rung, but no goals as of yet.
I think we have Will Devine to thank for that.
There's 1 minute remaining in the first half. 1 minute.
I can always count on you to highlight the goalkeeper, but yeah, you're right.
I am sensitive to the goalkeepers union, and I don't want to over defend them, but he has really made 2 outstanding saves tonight. Coastal would love to keep the ball for the last 20 seconds here.
Clock hits 0, and the first half comes to a close scoreless. It was not a half without its chances, but again, credit to Devine and the Chanticleers as we're joined now by NC State head coach Margus. Wins in program history against the #2 team in the country.
Absolutely. Coming off a challenging season last year where they picked up just 3 wins, played an extremely difficult schedule, number of top 25 opponents, a lot of 1-goal losses, but a win here tonight would be a statement.
Frankie DiFrancesco trying to sneak behind the back line, and he was offside. And Corbin Goodyear, a referee, Hisham El Bariki, and Travis Poole, the assistant referees tonight.
State right back into their high press here.
DiFrancesco playing alongside Tom Wingate, freshman making his debut in that 4-4-2 diamond. Takayama stays on in attacking mid. Those are the only changes from the starters for NC State.
Early chance for Coastal Carolina to have a little possession, and you can see NC State's positional discipline.
Shot blocked away from Caton. DiFrancesco plays it ahead for Wingate. Freshman from England gets a supporting run from Majib Sow. And Murphy is there.
That's great to get defensive cover from Murphy.
Sammy Murphy, who played 3 years in the ACC at Louisville, back with Coastal. And this foul is going to go against Emmanuel Adu.
NC State kept players high for that free kick. Coastal Carolina kind of took the bait, tried to play through the pressure, lost the ball and gave away a foul.
Hayato Takayama fouled there. A 20-goal scorer in 2 seasons in junior college at Iowa Western. Cruz's shot takes a deflection. Corner, yes. And Butterworth doing everything he can to defend against the corner, which is naturally what you're going to do, especially how NC State has been tonight.
Yeah, you see Theo Butterworth here doing everything he can to try to prevent this corner. He knows how dangerous these chances are for NC State. Just about got there, but didn't.
How about that look?
That's great camera work.
Design play. Maloney's shot never got all the way through.
I love that from NC State. Despite the number of dangerous chances they created from corners in the first half, they tried something different. You saw it right away. They didn't have anyone on goalkeeper Will Devine. They ran someone off the near post, and they found space.
I believe that was Wingate. Cruz.
So what NC State has managed to do here early in the second half is get those wing backs for Coastal Carolina pinned back so that they are part of the defensive line. 5-man defensive line is tough to break down, but it's also making it very hard for Coastal Carolina to get out of their half. They've got
Effectively turn it into a 5-3-2.
Yes.
Yeah. So it was Takayama who played it to Maloney there, and then Butterworth on the spot.
What can't he do? Just wonder if they might consider going long from one of these goal kicks. Not this time. They're still comfortable playing under this pressure.
And that has been something that teams are more and more willing to do. You love talking goalkeeping. Tell me about the modern goalkeeper and how much different it was than when you were playing professionally.
Well, you just now see Sam Terranova outside his box and exchanging passes, circulating around his back three, and looking to try to get a ball up the middle right now to one of the holding midfielders. That didn't exist 20 years ago. Goalkeepers were not part of the build-up from the back. We would play back to goalkeepers, but the job was just to hoof it away, one touch. They weren't really trusted to be part of a passing rotation, and they are now. Something I'd add about Sam Terranova tonight, this scenario he's in is really difficult. When you are not being tested very much and your opposite number is playing well, you sort of feel like a spectator to a degree, and you know at some point you will probably need to make a save for your team. It's difficult when you're not involved in the run of the play and you're not regularly seeing shots. It's almost an easier position for Will Devine to be in under as much pressure as he's been in. He hasn't had much downtime. There's not a lot of time for the mind to wander and to start thinking about what's happening in the game. That can happen when you're the goalkeeper at the other end and you're not that involved.
Got to build your confidence too every time you come up with the save, the punch.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Will Devine got his night off to a great start, and you can just tell he's feeling it.
Coastal goes with the long throw. Kai Antoine clears.
We are starting to see some late challenges, and that one didn't look great.
Patrick Colano.
I mean, I'm not sure there's a lot of intent there. There's just two players, one trying to clear the ball and one trying to charge it down. But as fatigue builds and as tension builds, these little mistimed challenges can turn into dangerous situations. We've already got a couple of players on a yellow card, and that's something that they'll have to be extremely cognizant of.
Colano, the only freshman in the starting lineup. Whole lot of space for Takayama.
Again, good reorganization from Coastal Carolina. NC State had a little bit of a break right through the center, but they were able to reorganize and sort of force it away from the danger area.
Potential counter. This is offside.
Well done by the NC State backline there. They saw the player making the run in behind. They just held up and let him go into an offside position.
Valdemarson caught offside here. Watch number 4 on the bottom of your screen, Kai Antoine.
Yeah, you could see him alter his run and stop.
So about 10 minutes into the second half. Not a whole lot different than we saw in maybe the final 20+ minutes of the first.
Yeah, I think Coach Perrin's going to be happy with this start because a little bit of the intensity in the air has come out of the game. NC State had this crowd really into the game about halfway through that first half. There were chances, there were saves, there were dangerous free kicks, there were fouls. It hasn't been a very eventful second half, and that will suit Coastal Carolina just fine.
Yeah. Francesco testing. NC State has had a lot on this left wing tonight. Whether it be Maloney or Cruz.
Yeah, and I do think that's an avenue for them to continue to attack. There just hasn't been much available to them from central positions. That's a great turn.
And another corner.
You know, yet another good reason to attack wide. You put outside backs into a position, wing backs in this case, where they're forced to extend a foot to try to charge down across. Best case scenario, they put it behind for a corner, and NC State will take that.
Cruz hits the side netting. And he's trying to wake up the Red Terrors.
Yeah, again, a really interesting decision from Coach Hubbard here to go to a short corner routine. Coastal Carolina hasn't quite adjusted to it yet. They are defending very deep around their goal. That's leaving space out here for NC State to combine into. A few more shots like that, there's a good chance one of them finds the back of the net.
That'll relieve some pressure for Coastal Carolina. Majib So with the foul. Great story, Irvin Cruz. 3 appearances as a sophomore in 2024, had not played since then with the knee injury last year. But not just back and healthy, but back as a starter.
You love to see that. Yeah, you love to see that. Injuries are such an unfortunate part of any sport. We know knee injuries in our sport are prevalent, and it can It can just feel awful for a player to lose an entire season to injury like that. But you put the work in, you do the rehab, your time comes again.
Well, he eventually moved to Charlotte for soccer, local player from Nightdale. This is offside.
A couple of times now in the last few minutes. Again, really good discipline from the NC State back line to just sort of let offsides happen. It's not what we used to call an offside trap. They're not running forward trying to catch the Coastal Carolina players, but they're keeping an eye on the ball as it's about to be served and they see that someone's running in behind them. Trust that referees are going to get that right. Helps that you have a video review if they don't.
It does. It does.
And you can hold that line and just let them run offside.
I know it's drilled over and over again, but it does take some belief and some bravery to go in the opposite direction of the goal and say, hey, if you are onside, we are in trouble.
One of the really interesting things about our sport is that a lot of things are counterintuitive to safety. So what you think is the safe thing to do, drop back to protect your own goal, in a lot of cases just giving the opponent more room to play into.
Takayama whistled for the foul on Butterworth.
Andrew, I can't tell, was that a popular call with the home crowd?
Red Terrors back behind the goal. They did not like it.
You know, there's not a lot in that, but you kind of can't go into the back of somebody. So if Theo Butterworth establishes position, gets to the ball first, and all you see is his back, pretty much any contact is going to bring him down, and referees will give that almost every time.
How good has Josh Gordon been in the air tonight?
Excellent. Not just winning balls, but with conviction, putting it right back onto the Coastal Carolina back line.
That ball went out. It was missed. Gordon, who got to NC State in the spring, always helps to get settled at your new stop semester early. Train, and that's the part that we don't really see in college soccer from the outside perspective is all the work that goes on in the spring.
Right, spring is really critical, particularly with new players, because you don't have a lot of time. If you're coming in as a transfer or a freshman, you know, you're just a few weeks away from playing meaningful games, and we forget that these are people too, so they're also learning the campus, they're learning the town, the city, they're learning their class schedule, et cetera, et cetera. It's a lot to deal with, and if you can come in that semester early, take care of all the off-the-field stuff, it makes the soccer much easier. Just a tiny bit of quality missing there from Coastal Carolina. That's the chance. It doesn't look like they're in a dangerous area of the field. We're here at midfield, but they play a few passes, draw some NC State players toward the player with the ball. If you can connect that ball that cuts out the midfielders, now you can get your attacking players running at defenders. NC State hasn't had to deal with that much tonight, so it'll be interesting to see how they deal with it if Coastal's able to connect one of those balls.
NC State trying to play long. And they do to DiFrancesco. Frank DiFrancesco got it to Wingate. And even though it might not be the clearest cut chance, it's probably the best chance of the second half for this team.
That was a great ball from DiFrancesco, and just a little bit of a scuffed shot. Pulled it across his body a little bit. You'll see on the replay. Probably made contact with his ankle a little bit.
A wave of subs coming in for NC State after this chance.
You see how far past the near post he was. It's really hard to whip that across your body into the far corner. Sometimes better served to think about near post just with the inside of the foot.
Coastal gets on the secondary ball. O'Brien to Murphy. And Carita just jumps on the back of Caton, who did not appreciate that. Now Carita draws a charge.
Yeah, just a little extras there.
And referee Corbin Goodyear's going to settle everybody down.
Pretty clear foul and just some typical argy-bargy afterwards. Not the kind of thing NC State wants to get involved in, and they did a good job not letting that become anything more than it was.
It has become, and Butterworth will see yellow. And at a certain point, and look, this is certainly not my area of expertise, refereeing. It's got to be a difficult job anytime, especially when the game gets as physical as it has gotten. At a certain point, we are having so many stoppages, there have to be more cards, right?
Yeah, I mean, and that's what the referee has at his disposal. Yellow cards. You dish out a few yellow cards, it's a warning, and you can't keep making challenges like that. This is also a foul in a much more dangerous area than the last one we saw. It's relatively harmless to give away a foul in the other team's half, but this is another ball that NC State is going to be able to put in front of Will Devine's goal and say who can go get it.
Aiden Payne, Drew Lovelace, a couple of the candidates who just checked in, awaiting this service. It is Payne.
Not far off. Again, a quality service in. Again, NC State's getting to that ball first. Generally speaking, that's a winning formula for any team, but we are now getting into the last 25 minutes of the game, 26 minutes into the game. Coastal Carolina will still feel relatively unbothered by this.
Continues. Both sides wanting a foul.
Yeah, I think a referee wants to let them play when he can. If he feels like it's an honest challenge, he'll allow play to go on.
On the pitch.
2 fouls on the field, and I wonder if the referee spotted this. Looked like an intentional decision by one of the Coastal Carolina players to toss a second ball onto the field.
Yeah. And there's just there's some gamesmanship going on at this point.
We've reached a really interesting part of the game. About 25 minutes left in a game that NC State has largely controlled. For most of that game, for most of that time, if you were to get caught on a counterattack and give up a goal against the run of play, you would feel like you've plenty of game left to get that back. We're getting toward the time where that's not really the case. So as much as NC State wants to get this winning goal, they do have to be mindful that giving up anything on a counterattack, potentially giving up a goal this late in the game, could be very problematic. That's a great step.
Remember, Schumacher just got a yellow card. And here comes another. He just threw a second ball onto the pitch a couple of minutes ago, and now a tug of the shirt.
Yeah,
he never got a yellow for that. Okay, we put up a graphic that he got a yellow. All right, I spoke too soon. All right. Okay. We put 2 cards up. The official scorekeeper, which is all that matters,
yes,
did not have him on a card.
Yeah,
okay.
correct.
I was just thinking, I understand a tug of the shirt, but not if you just got a yellow card.
Yeah, that would have been fatal.
That makes a little more sense.
Yeah. That is.
I had already written them into my book, so we'll stick with that.
The margin of error is now being reduced for Coastal Carolina with these yellow cards. What a great service.
And again, Payne ahead to it.
You know, we've done the analytics on this, and balls from these wide positions, outswingers like that, the attacking team is able to get the first touch on them at almost a 2-to-1 rate.
Really?
Yeah, we've long thought that in-swingers were always the way to go, but in-swingers are going away from the attacking players and toward the goalkeeper. And so some analytics firms at this last World Cup tracked that, and they found that outswingers are actually a lot more dangerous. And that was a tremendous delivery.
Maloney with the head of steam. Carita with a good tackle. Coastal looking to counter where they can. O'Brien to Schumacher.
I feel like that ball in was just a little bit impatient. Take a few more touches, get a little closer to the end line, get that ball in behind the NC State defenders.
And this is where Coastal, when they do come forward, how heavy do the legs get in the final 20+ minutes?
I'm wondering if we're getting a hydration break this half.
We should be. It should be coming soon. The other question for you as a coach, when you have one player on a yellow card, it's always something for you to consider. When you have this many players on a yellow card, your depth is going to be tested. And you also have to trust some players to play with that yellow.
You do. There are players that you feel like if they get a yellow card, you'd better get them off the pitch. You'd better sub them. I think Coach Perrin knows who those players are. He hasn't overreacted to anything. So I think he's trusting his players to understand they've got to modify their approach if they're on a yellow.
Caden unselfish. Majib So's shot is blocked. That was better from NC State.
Beautiful build-up. You say unselfish, and that's true. And I wonder if it maybe was a touch too unselfish. But we did get a shot in the end that led to a corner.
Again, it starts from the left wing.
And this is really good. All hands on deck defending from Coastal Carolina here. Players getting across to get in the line of that shot.
Got through everybody. Goal kick.
I'm not surprised they went back to the direct corner in swinging. A couple of the short corners from this near side, Andrew, did create half chances. But the amount of pressure they were able to put Coastal Carolina under in the first half from those situations, I think now in the last 20 minutes, they're going to want to do that as often as they can.
Coastal Carolina's made it into the 70th minute without conceding. And despite all the newcomers in the new era, maybe not shocking. I know the results don't officially count, but as good as they have been in exhibitions, including an exhibition win over an ACC side in Wake Forest,
you know
how to keep a clean sheet.
Yeah, and as much as coaches like to say, exhibition games don't matter, you don't want to lose them. And to get a win against a team the quality of Wake Forest, it's a good indicator that there's quality in this Coastal Carolina team.
Quick restart to the top of the box. It is Appia, lays it off. O'Brien, a good save by Terranova. And you said, Justin, at some point he was probably going to have to make a save. That was a pretty good one.
Yep, so impressive from Sam right there. He's largely been a spectator. He's been involved in some build-up play, but he hasn't really had saves to make. That's not an easy one. Down low to his right, not only saving it, but able to control the rebound. Great work from Sam Terranova.
Just plays it long. Garita. NC State's been a little more willing to play the ball longer and more direct.
Yep,
Coastal seems to have done better in those situations. But if you're NC State, you want to try something new.
You do. They've found some success with longer balls wide into the channels.
Here is the save from Terranova.
Great angle on his footwork as he gets across, gets set. That shot goes through the legs of the defender. He would have lost sight of that entirely for a split second. So to readjust, keep his feet moving, get both hands down, great save.
Clock is stopped. Riley Maloney, I think, is subbing off, and he thought, well, I'll just take the long way around. And Corbin Goodyear blew his whistle and said, no, we'll pause.
Well, he was able to get a nice hand from the NC State fans before the referee sort of threw cold water on that.
Maloney, who played the full 90 minutes 15 times last year, including 10 straight to end the season. So it is somewhat rare to see him coming off the pitch, but I think they know what they have in Riley Maloney, and part of that is maybe some fatigue on a night in which it still feels like it's in the 90s.
Yeah, we're seeing that, Andrew. The flags have been absolutely dead for the last 30 minutes. There's no breeze whatsoever.
Russell Burko through traffic. Burko takes a deflection to Payne, who puts it right at Devine.
Oh, that's a real chance. Just not able to get quite the clean strike he was wanting there. Will Devine covered it safely, but it shot directly to him. I believe I predicted more cramps.
As Baxter hurt.
Yeah, that stretch you see the trainer performing there is sort of the universal sign of cramp.
And there's the NC State trainer, Adam Wesche, handing out, I presume, some sort of electrolyte chew.
Yeah, it's just been a huge challenge tonight for both teams. I mean, staying hydrated, dealing with these conditions.
This late August weather, you know it's hot during the day. This is where I think it's the most frustrating. You say it's 9:30 at night and it feels like 90 degrees.
Welcome to North
This
Carolina.
is when you walk outside and take the trash out and say, why is it still so hot?
Well, because it's August.
Do you have extra jerseys on deck? You change shirts at halftime? I mean, it takes about 15 minutes and the shirt is soaked.
Yeah,
I like to.
Probably not even worth it. There are extra jerseys just in the event of blood. Generally, you save them for that. We did see a little blood spilled tonight, but luckily nothing serious.
blood, sweat, and if there's a goal in this one, maybe some tears.
That's
the team that concedes.
That's tremendous work from you, Andrew.
Coming from a writer like yourself, I appreciate that.
I'm old enough to remember the band of that name.
Now you lost me. All right, back underway. That is Adam Abdu playing right back for NC State, as Brandon Bent has come in and played left back. And part of it too, you're talking about tired legs, but also you only have limited non-conference matches, and if you're either of these coaches, you need to see some of your depth guys and give them a chance as well.
Absolutely. First game of the season, the result doesn't make or break either team, but you do want to see.
Side, Burko cuts in, Burko sticks with it. Dealt with again by the shots it clears.
We'll have to see the replay. I think Will Devine once again got himself into a good position there and made a spread block save. May have been the leg of a defender, though.
Butterworth commits the foul. Advantage initially given. Not a whole lot there. Remember, he is on a yellow. But this is the chance a moment ago, and Burko's maybe been the most dangerous player for NC State since just coming in a couple of minutes ago.
That is a save from Will Devine. What a good job. Yeah. He's got to go from this challenge, which he just dealt with, to a free kick in a very dangerous shooting position.
Now remember, they just took Riley Maloney off, who would be volunteering for this. They do have other good options, like Tyler Caton.
And I think this is in the ideal shooting range. Sometimes if you're a little closer, you're actually too close, and it's hard to get the ball over the wall and then down again under the crossbar. This range here, 26, 28 yards, you can get it up over the wall, still let the spin bring it back down under the bar. Will Devine might need to make another save here.
Caton standing over it, along with the newcomer, Brandon Bent. It's Caton.
Took a deflection off the wall, another corner.
Coastal Carolina wants to make a sub or two. Let's take another look.
That was going to be dangerous. That looked like it was headed toward that near post.
Got to head to it. Burko will just let it go out.
That's one of the few NC State corners that Coastal Carolina has cleanly won and headed away. It still results in a dangerous long throw.
Kai Antoine, who made 9 appearances last year, 1 start. Now in a much bigger role. The long throw. And the shot is high from Bent.
Really difficult chance. Brought it down with his chest. It's bouncing up as defenders are running out at him. It's a half chance at best.
Now entering for the Soccer Kings, number 11, Patrick Shaw. And number 24, Parker
Sturgis subs in for Hurt, who is dealing with some cramps. And Patrick Shaw, who started tonight, he'll replace Schumacher.
You see a lot of NC State substitutes warming up down on the NC State bench. Wouldn't be surprised to see Coach Mark Hubbard get some fresh legs in.
That was a little scary.
Yeah, Coastal Carolina rode their luck a little bit there. There was just a slight mistouch while playing it around the back.
It's the second time that Caton and Carita have gotten tangled up. Cruz pressured by Sean, gives it away. This is Abdu.
Just those little misplaced passes. One from NC State. Coastal Carolina gives it right back. We're just, even with the substitutions we're seeing, there's some fatigue on the field.
Oh, there's no doubt.
We've reached a stage of the game here, Andrew, where unequivocally we are at the business end. That was just a little bit of a sloppy square ball.
Lovelace will see a yellow card here.
Yeah, a little bit of a sloppy square ball that led to a turnover and led to a foul. And again, I just can't help think that this is mostly fatigue-based.
And you can hear, understandably so, the home crowd that packed this place out. They're frustrated.
Sure.
It has been a stop and start. It has been not the free-flowing match that probably every viewer hopes to see. But if you're NC State, that is part of the challenge, right? Even when the crowd's starting to get restless, that you don't feel, even though it'll be a frustrating match, when, you know, when Coastal says, hey, it's on them to score.
They're going to have to play a lot of games like this, particularly in the non-conference season. Funnily enough, when they get to ACC play against other really top-notch programs, you're going to see more open, free-flowing soccer.
Sometimes. But also last year we saw in ACC play at times. You know, teams are saying, hey, we're going to commit to you scoring 0. And if we find 1 or 2 on the other end, great.
Well, that's true. When you get to that, you know, postseason play and the stakes are so high, you don't see a lot of wide open soccer.
Sure.
This is another one of these balls where NC State can, if they can get the service right, get it in between Will Devine and his back line, somewhere right around the penalty spot or just inside that.
Devine spills it. Oh, he's been so good tonight.
That is a brilliant service in and an absolute nightmare ball for a goalkeeper to deal with.
NC State takes it quickly. Corner.
Watch this service. You know, that's such a difficult ball for a goalkeeper to deal with because it's low. You don't have an advantage when the ball's low. When it's up high and you can use your hands, obviously, you know, you make the most of that advantage. But a ball like that where you're plunging out at people's feet, it takes the slightest little nick. You're not going to hold it cleanly, and then anything can happen. We've got another cramp.
Coach Hubbard talking to the veteran, Drew Lovelace. Here's another look at the ball. It's so in between.
Yeah, the way Will Devine approached that, it looked to me like he expected an NC State player to get a touch on it. So he was going with his hands to sort of create a barrier and make a save. And in the end, no one did touch it. The ball came right through, so he wasn't really in the right shape to claim it himself.
Another Wolfpack corner.
Every one of these a threat. The service is just so good. Once again, so many numbers around Will Devine. He really can't get out to those balls. He can't get out there and get a fist on it, let alone catch it. There's just too much traffic to go through.
With Maloney out, it's up to Bent to look to bend it in with the left foot. His chance to provide service. Go short. And we've got some pushing and shoving, and a red card shown to Frank DiFrancesco, and he's sent off.
The referee,
8.5 minutes to play.
The referee made a gesture that there was an elbow.
Straight red.
Straight red. I believe this is one Coach Hubbard can ask for another look at. Didn't see a lot in that first replay. Let's see if we can see what happened.
And the whistle blew right about when the contact happened, and well, you lose Corbin Goodyear, a referee, but he made really a demonstrative signal that made me think it might be a little more serious than just yellow, and indeed it was.
Yeah, so they are going to review. They are going to review it. In this angle, you can see the arm is extended a little bit.
In what has been a very chippy night, we have seen 6 yellow cards, countless fouls, and now a straight red.
Yeah, it's a little difficult to see from the angles we've seen, but if there's contact to the head with an elbow, that's not the kind of thing that's very likely to be overturned. He made the decision on the field based on what he saw live that it was a red card. I'm not sure there's going to be enough for him to change his mind here.
So the call on the fields, Frank DiFrancesco sent off, and NC State would be down to 10 men for the final 8:30. Now, if this call stands, I'm interested how this match may or may not change. Coastal seemed content to try to keep the clean sheet. With the man advantage, do they press up a little more?
Because there's only 8.5 minutes left, I'm not sure it changes that much for them. If there were 25 or 30 minutes left, I think you take advantage of the time.
See, tangled up with Sammy Murphy.
It's just hard to see anything that would overturn it.
And it happened so far away from the play. You can see Mr. Goodyear.
He's looking right at them
already.
Yeah, he's looking right at them.
And how many corners has NC State had tonight? 9. So there's been, plenty of opportunities for these players to come together and skirmish over and over and over on a hot night when tempers flare.
So what we're seeing here is exactly what the referees are seeing. He's got a clear view of it. In real time, he felt like that was an elbow to the head. I
mean, he certainly has an elbow extended and clears him out. I don't know if it was an elbow to the head, but yeah, is it enough to overturn?
Right, and there's just very low tolerance for that. Any kind of contact to the head.
He's swinging that arm out.
So after reviewing the play, it's not a red card, it is a yellow.
Oh, well, you can see by the body language of Murphy.
Looks like he's overturned it.
Take out the red, wave it off. It is a yellow. So downgraded to a yellow card.
I think that falls right squarely into the category of, if you're Coach Mark Hubbard, you're happy with that decision. If you're Coach Adam Perrin, you're not. You can see both sides of it. It looked to me like there was some contact with the head. Probably on reflection of the video, he felt like it wasn't overly violent.
I agree with you. I'm surprised that it got downgraded. Just because that was the call on the field and there was some contact there. But looking at it, it was not a point of the elbow to the temple.
Right. And
it was more of a tricep kind of wrapping around. But when you make that kind of elbow motion, you do put yourself in danger.
Yes.
And you can see that's what Mr. Goodyear saw initially that led to that straight red. So after review, just another yellow. 7 of them on the night.
We're at an even 20 shots for NC State now. They've certainly created their chances, and in this last 8 minutes, you'd expect at least one more.
For those of you tuning in late, they hit the post not once but twice in the first half, both coming off of corner kicks. Josh Gordon, who just passes it here to Kai Antoine, the center back, has been as involved as anybody offensively. Russell Burko also has had a couple of nice chances, as has really Aiden Payne. The ball that fell to him out in front, a couple of headers.
And for Coastal Carolina, Theo Butterworth has been at the heart of everything they've done well defensively. But my man of the match at this point is goalkeeper Will Devine. 2 very good saves in the first half, another one here in the second half. And he's just dealt with a tremendous amount of pressure from these set pieces.
Again, he won the starting job. And you can see why, making his D1 debut.
Yeah, he's making quite a claim tonight to keep that job.
And now this is Kai Antoine.
Andrew, I saw him go down just now. It didn't really look like what we've been seeing, cramps. It didn't really look like that. It looked like he may have caught his heel in the grass a little bit. For his sake, I certainly hope it's just a cramp, and we'll see based on the treatment protocol.
And while he gets treatment from NC State trainer at Weshy, cramping on the other side for Coastal Carolina, their trainer, Jun Yamada, has gotten his steps in tonight.
Well, we have both trainers on the field at the moment. I want to just quickly take a moment to say what an amazing job athletic trainers do. I've been in the college game since the late 90s. The science and the level of care, the growth in that has been exponential. I know that NC State has an outstanding sports medicine department. And I want to give a quick shout out to Eric Bornhold, one of the great athletic trainers there, who suffered a very bad knee injury playing some summer soccer, had some surgery, is recovering now. We certainly hope that recovery goes well.
Absolutely. A lot of love and respect for our athletic trainers. So Antoine walking off. Caden Pollard is cramping for Coastal Carolina. He is making his way to the sideline, I believe, to come off. Yes. Austin Bush is going to come back in, as will Johnny Rosario for his collegiate debut. He enters with just under 7 minutes left in a tie match. Second half. What a time to make your debut.
Still absolutely everything to play for. And at this point of the game, no margin of error whatsoever. We are essentially in a sudden death overtime period now.
DeFrancesco out. Bush will come in to pair with Burko. And Rosario will partner with Gordon at center back. And immediately might have to deal with the ball here.
Our ball, yeah.
17, Austin Bush, number 32, Gianni Rosario.
So impressive from Coastal Carolina to continue with this high press. Sam Terranova took that goal kick quickly. It looked like there was space to play into. Moments later, you've got multiple Coastal Carolina players pressing and winning themselves a throw-in.
Got a note here, there is no 33 on the roster. That is Appia, who has changed to the 33. Long throw, Gordon got head to it first. Tolentino to the top of the box, kicked up in the air by Shaw. Carita trying to turn, and Gordon closes him out.
Tremendous defending.
I mean, it is big shoes to fill when you're stepping in where Niko Markovic was last year, ACC Defender of the Year, but he has been pretty dominant. He and Butterworth have been putting on a show. If you're a fan of center back play,
it's been top-notch tonight.
We talked to Coach Hubbard at halftime. He said he was pretty pleased with the first half, but for the last 5 minutes, we'll see how his side does in these final 5.
Andrew, I've just been around a lot of games like this, and I feel like there's still a big chance to come. Although we have another cramp to deal with first. And I'll tell you something else about the cramping. It's not going to end when the game ends. Some of these players will cramp tonight. It's just going to be so difficult to rehydrate to the degree you need to.
So while treatment is provided, again, no score here in Raleigh. We do have some other scores to show you, I'm told. Okay, so Georgetown able to equalize and take a draw against North Carolina. Clemson, wow. We knew about the Syracuse win, but the last time we checked, it was 1-0 for the Tigers. And again, that Furman ranking, and the Paladins may be excellent this year. That's based on last year.
What's also interesting about that is that Clemson was left out of a preseason top 20. The first time that's happened, and I can't remember how long. I suspect they took it a bit personally.
And there's still half an hour to go. Good soccer played in the Carolinas.
Such a hotbed of the college game, men and women.
We're here in the triangle tonight, but of course, Clemson, Furman, and again, Coastal Carolina has good history that they're trying to get back to. And so far, they're 5 minutes away from results on the road against an ACC opponent and the preseason number 2.
You know, Coach Perrin made it pretty clear to us that in no way was his team playing for a draw tonight. And you can see in their play as they continue to get forward, they're not playing for a draw. However, that being said, would they be happy with a draw? Maybe not happy, probably pretty satisfied.
I don't think it would be a quiet bus ride back.
No, they'll feel pretty good about themselves. In fact, they should regardless.
Devine had to make the catch and did.
I feel like I'm repeating myself if I say what I'm thinking now, but again, such great positive goalkeeping.
Rosario.
You can understand NC State wanting to get the ball forward in a hurry. That particular kind of ball sort of floated, lofted toward the center of the Coastal Carolina back line. I think we've got ample evidence tonight. We know who's going to get ahead on that.
Well, Joe Wilcock is going to come in for Sammy Murphy. Just got him cleared to play, a freshman from England. Chipped in. Bush kept it alive. Tolentino back in towards the 6. Good work from Shaw. Caton covers. Rosario again getting his first bit of collegiate experience here in the final 7 minutes of a tied match. Stays calm and composed.
Yeah, he's had some touches and looked very comfortable. Andrew, that last chance for NC State. Again, a dangerous ball played in just fractionally too far away from an outstretched NC State boot.
And Wilcock goes to ground and draws the foul.
I know it's been frustrating for the fans tonight, but I do think the referee has been pretty consistent with these kind of decisions.
Wilcock just in, not completely to full fitness, but this is the perfect opportunity. Throw him in for the final, say, 5 minutes or so and see what he can do.
It makes such a difference to a player. The difference between playing and not playing, even if that playing is just a few minutes, you were part of it. You're out there, you feel the intensity. You take something away from that and you build on it for the next game.
Still pressing NC State back.
We are literally in the last 2 minutes. Coastal Carolina still has 7, 8 players forward committed to that press, forcing NC State into some somewhat aimless long balls. Will Devine's going to get to this.
Under 90 seconds to play.
NC State has a man over on the right.
Bush with the step over.
That's a good tackle.
Maybe time for one last push.
Plenty of time to get the ball forward for NC State. Just about maintaining your focus and composure if you're Coastal Carolina.
The captain, Tolentino. 25 seconds left. Bent. Time for one last ball.
Got it.
9, 8, 7.
Rosario into the box.
4, 3.
Handled well by Coastal Carolina. Caden Pollard plays it away. And 90 minutes, no goals in the season opener.
Theo Butterworth wins one more header. Kind of a fitting way for this game to end tonight.